They actually laughed at me. My uncle called me a fool with a God complex. My sister said I was throwing away my future. And my dad, he didn't say much, just stared at me like I'd spat on the family legacy. All I did was quit my six-figure job at a top medical tech firm to build an AI that helps patients with rare diseases find the right doctor. It was stupid, unrealistic, delusional, they said. But then the same uncle called me. His grandson was dying. No one could figure out what was wrong, and suddenly, I wasn't so crazy anymore. If you've ever been doubted, dismissed, or disowned for chasing a vision no one else could see, this story is for you. Because sometimes the wildest dream becomes the only lifeline. I grew up in a family obsessed with prestige. My dad was a decorated physician. My mom taught neuroscience at a top-tier university. My sister followed suit with Ivy League degrees and fellowships abroad. And me, I was the creative one, the kid who sketched ideas on napkins and got caught coding at 3 a.m. instead of studying chemistry. Despite the tension, I graduated and landed a coveted role at a leading healthcare tech company. 6 figures. Great benefits. Predictable life. But deep down, I felt like a cog in someone else's machine. I had this gnawing idea. What if AI could bridge the gap for patients lost in the system? One night, I handed in my resignation. No backup plan, no applause, just silence, followed by outrage. I walked away from certainty to chase a vision no one believed in, especially not my own family. What I didn't know then was that this reckless move would one day save the life of the very child they all adored. I grew up in a family where success was defined by white coats and diplomas on the wall. My dad was a respected doctor, my mom, a university professor, and my sister, Caroline, was the golden child, the one who followed every expectation perfectly. From a young age, I knew I was different. While everyone else admired science in a traditional way, I was drawn to technology and creativity. Nights spent coding apps and dreaming up new ideas were a constant source of tension at home. My parents wanted me to follow a clear path medicine like my sister. When I told my dad I wanted to study computer science, his disappointment was clear. "You were supposed to be like your sister," he said softly, more hurt than angry. I tried to fit in, but it never felt right. After college, I landed a solid job at a leading healthcare tech company. The paycheck was impressive, but the work didn't satisfy me. I spent my days optimizing systems that helped hospitals manage billing and appointments, but I longed to help patients, especially those with rare diseases that doctors struggled to diagnose. One evening, I read a desperate post from a mother whose daughter had seen over a dozen specialists with no answers. That moment sparked an idea. What if AI could analyze medical data faster and better than any human, connecting the dots where doctors couldn't? I started working on an AI platform in my free time. Slowly, it began to take shape, a system designed to help patients find the right diagnosis, especially for rare genetic conditions. When I told my parents I was quitting my secure job to pursue this crazy dream, they were devastated. My mom cried, and my dad just said, "You're throwing your future away." At family dinners, my uncle laughed and called me foolish while others joined in. I was the family outcast. I moved to a small apartment, lived on a shoestring budget, and faced rejection after rejection from investors. My co-founder gave up and left, calling the project a lost cause. But I refused to quit. Then the breakthrough came. Our AI helped diagnose a 7-year-old girl in Arizona with a rare genetic disorder, missed by 6 different doctors. That diagnosis saved her life. The case report circulated quietly in medical circles and gave our startup credibility. Still, my family remained silent, refusing to acknowledge what I'd built. Then one night, I received a call from my uncle, the same man who had mocked me. His grandson was sick, deteriorating fast, and no one could figure out why. A colleague had heard about our AI and suggested he reach out. That call changed everything. When my uncle called that night, his voice trembled. His grandson Ethan was slipping away. The boy had been through countless doctor's tests and hospital stays, but no one could pinpoint the problem. Seizures, muscle weakness, confusion. Every diagnosis they got was just a guess. And now, the family was desperate. They asked if I could help. For a moment, I hesitated. After years of rejection and silence, the same people who dismissed me were now pleading for my help. But I didn't hesitate for long. I immediately began reviewing Ethan's medical records that had been sent over. It was a complex case. His symptoms were scattered and previous diagnoses conflicted. The data was massive and messy, everything from genetic tests to clinical notes. But this is exactly what my AI was built for. I ran Ethan's data through the system. The AI sifted through millions of medical papers, patient histories, and genetic profiles to find a match. Years later, it surfaced a rare genetic mutation linked to a disorder almost unheard of in the US, but reported in a handful of Japanese case studies. The diagnosis explained Ethan's symptoms perfectly, something no doctor had caught. And even better treatment protocols existed that could slow the progression if started immediately. I called my uncle back and explained everything. At first, he was skeptical. After all, I was the black sheep who had walked away from the family legacy. But the evidence was clear. They rushed Ethan to the specialized hospital where the treatment could begin. The turnaround was gradual but undeniable. Within weeks, Ethan stopped worsening. His seizures became less frequent, and his energy started to return. His parents finally had hope. And my family. Word traveled fast. Suddenly, the crazy idea was the talk of the family. But it wasn't just family gossip. News of the diagnosis reached the hospital's administration. They wanted to license the AI system for wider use. The same institution where my uncle worked now wanted me to partner with them to save more lives. Despite the years of rejection and doubt, my work was finally validated on a scale I never imagined. Yet even with this success, the road wasn't smooth. At the next family gathering, my dad still carried the weight of old expectations. He was proud, but guarded, reminding me that success isn't just about saving one life. It's about sustaining it and proving yourself every day. I listened. I understood. I had to keep pushing, not just for me, but for everyone who had been lost in the medical system's blind spots. This breakthrough became the fuel to grow the AI platform rapidly. We secured funding, hired a dedicated team, and expanded to over 50 hospitals in 6 months. Each new diagnosis saved lives and proved the technology's value. And with every success, my family's attitude shifted from mocking laughter to genuine interest, from cold silences to invitations to speak and share my experience. But the most important victory, saving Ethan's life. And in doing so, saving my own belief in what's possible when you follow your vision, even when everyone else doubts you. The family reunion was supposed to be a routine, gathering, birthday, holiday, whatever. But this time, tension hung thick in the air. I walked in quietly trying to blend in, but the weight of years of judgment followed me like a shadow. I knew what they thought the kid who threw away a promising career for some impossible dream. Dad was there already, scanning the room with that look, part disappointment, part disbelief. Caroline perfect, as always smiling like she owned the place. And then there was my uncle, the same man who'd once mocked me openly. The air was thick with unspoken words. As dinner progressed, the chatter turned to the usual topics, work kid successes. But then suddenly, my uncle stood up. He cleared his throat. Everyone, he said, voice steady but urgent. I want to talk about Ethan. The room went silent. He's been very sick. No one could figure out what was wrong until recently. He looked right at me. Until a new AI system helped us find a diagnosis. And it was built by someone you all know, a beat. Then murmurs, eyes shifting. That moment was a turning point. Caroline, the golden child, was the first to speak, her voice sharp but unsure. So you're saying, this system, this AI, is yours? I nodded. Yes. Her expression flickered between surprise and skepticism. But how you left everything behind? We thought you were chasing shadows. I took a breath. I was chasing something real. Something that could save lives like Ethan's. The room filled with mixed emotions, pride, shock, confusion, and even a hint of guilt. Dad finally spoke. I wanted you to follow a safe path. I wanted you to be secure, but maybe I underestimated your vision. It wasn't a full apology, but it was a start. Then came the toughest moment. One of my cousins, clearly uncomfortable, whispered, But what about the years we wasted doubting you? The times we laughed? I looked around. Yes, you doubted me. You laughed. You didn't believe. That hurt. But I'm not here to hold grudges. I'm here because this is bigger than us. This AI saved a child's life, our child's life, and that means everything. The tension began to thaw. My uncle smiled, finally proud. Maybe this is the future. Maybe we all need to open our eyes. That night, I realized the real battle wasn't just about proving myself. It was about changing hearts, about healing wounds deeper than any illness. But the story wasn't over, because just as the family began to accept me, outside forces were watching. Big players in healthcare companies threatened by disruption skeptics, ready to tear down what I built. The pressure mounted. Threats of lawsuits, attempts to discredit the AI's accuracy, even personal attacks. I faced it all alone, but every challenge strengthened my resolve. Because saving Ethan had shown me what was possible. And now, I had to fight not just for my family's respect, but for every patient counting on this technology. The stakes couldn't be higher. And I was ready. After the storm of that family gathering, I knew things had shifted, but the real work was just beginning. The skepticism outside my family was fierce. The AI system I built wasn't just saving lives, it was disrupting the medical status quo, threatening established players. But more than that inside me, a new determination was growing. I realized I couldn't just fight to prove myself to others anymore. I had to fight for the people who depended on this technology, the patients who had nowhere else to turn. Days blurred into nights as I immersed myself in refining the AI. I doubled down on transparency, inviting independent experts to scrutinize the algorithms, eager to prove its worth beyond any doubt. Each test, each challenge was a step toward solidifying the platform's credibility. But the emotional weight was heavy. There were moments of doubt, the loneliness, the endless pushback. It felt like swimming upstream against a powerful current. That's when I reconnected with Sarah, an old mentor from college who had always believed in my vision. She became a lifeline, offering advice, emotional support, and connecting me with key allies in the medical community. Her faith in me reminded me why I started this journey in the first place. Then came the pivotal decision. We could have played it safe, slowly rolling out the technology, waiting for perfect conditions. But every day delayed meant more patient suffering. So I decided to push forward aggressively, even if it meant taking risks. We launched a pilot program in several hospitals, focusing on patients with rare genetic disorders. The results were immediate and profound. Diagnoses came faster, treatments started earlier, and families who'd been waiting for answers finally got hope. The pilot's success silenced many critics and attracted new investors. But success brought its own challenges. Suddenly, I was balancing rapid growth, ethical concerns, and the expectations of patients, doctors, and investors. Every decision carried weight. A mistake could jeopardize everything. During this time, I found clarity in my purpose. It wasn't about proving my family wrong anymore. It was about proving to myself that following my passion could change lives, including my own. One evening, after a long day, I sat alone in the lab reflecting on how far I'd come. I realized that the failure my family once feared was actually my greatest strength. My resilience, my refusal to give up, that was the real victory. With renewed focus, I prepared to face the next big challenge, scaling the AI platform nationwide, making sure no patient felt lost or ignored. The decision to keep pushing forward, despite the obstacles, the doubts, and the fears, was the moment I truly became the person I was meant to be. After the pilot's success, momentum exploded. We signed contracts with over 50 hospitals across the country in just 6 months. The AI system wasn't just a tool anymore. It was a lifeline for countless families desperate for answers. Every day, I received messages from parents who had been told to wait and see, from patients who had felt invisible in the medical system. Their gratitude was humbling. My family's attitude changed along with everything else. Those who once mocked me now invited me to share my story at gatherings, even asking for advice. The same relatives who doubted me became proud of what I had built. But this journey wasn't about winning their approval anymore. It was about something far bigger. The most important victory was knowing that Ethan, my uncle's grandson, and so many others had a chance at life because of the technology I helped create. Saving him saved me. It restored my faith in myself and in the power of persistence. Yet the journey also taught me that healing isn't just about technology or success. It's about forgiveness. Forgiving those who doubted you, forgiving yourself for past mistakes, and opening your heart to the unexpected ways life can turn around. Looking back, I see the scars from those early days, the hurtful words, the loneliness, the fear of failure. But those wounds paved the way for growth. They fueled a fire inside me that refused to be extinguished. Now, my mission continues. The AI platform is growing, evolving, and reaching new communities every day. But the message I carry is clear. Your dreams might seem impossible to others, but they can be the very thing that saves lives, including your own. To anyone listening who feels misunderstood, underestimated, or laughed at, hold on to your vision, because one day your crazy idea could be the miracle someone desperately needs. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Remember, sometimes the hardest path leads to the greatest healing.